show can begin.
Well, greetings and welcome to everyone to CMA2's 2024 Invitational Exhibition. My name is Fran Garrido, and we are very excited to present to you an intimate look into these three artists' studio practice, inspiration, process, and works of art. I think you will find the pieces beautiful, thoughtful, and inspiring. I want to thank the entire exhibition committee for their commitment and involvement with creating an exhibition. Kate Hanley, Susan Swam, Shelley J., and Kim Porter. It requires a lot of teamwork to coordinate and execute all of the intricate portions of the exhibition, which takes many hours to produce. Kudos to the Zoom team, without which there would be no virtual exhibitions, as well as workshops or many of the other offerings that CMA2 presents for its memberships, enabling a worldwide audience, as we have Bob here tonight. Creating an exhibition is a monumental endeavor, and it cannot be accomplished without the assistance of our volunteers. Another big thank you to all of the volunteers who keep to all the volunteers who work to keep CMA2 thriving and growing. Please consider donating some of your time to make CMA2 grow. After our reception, the exhibition will be live until November 3rd, but I usually let it go on a little longer. Artists will receive a link to the exhibition that can be viewed at your leisure. Please invite your family, collectors, colleagues, collectors. All the work, no, not all the works. It'll tell you when we go to each of the pieces, it will tell you whether they are for sale or not. And that's it. So maneuvering about Kunstmatrix, which is the platform on which the exhibition is held, there's 47 works of art by 3 artists. It's fairly straightforward and intuitive. Kunstmatrix is the platform that allows one to create virtual exhibitions. This exhibition fills 3 galleries of unique mosaic artwork. The works are engaging and impressive. It is a privilege to be able to peer into the mind and practice of an artist, and I think you will agree to see this exhibition. Simple directions. I don't know if you'll remember it, but it's very simple. For best viewing of Kunstmatrix, they suggest that we use either Firefox or Chrome. I'm using Chrome tonight as your browser. Once you receive the link, search and enter 2024 Invitational. The link will take you right to the exhibition, but if you just want to go to Kunstmatrix and just search that name, that title, 2024 Invitational. So there's a round white button with a black horizontal lines at the top right. Click on that first. This allows you to select from several options such as enter full screen, back to start tour, etc. The tour allows you to sit back and enjoy the exhibition. It just goes at its own pace. It moves at a slow pace on its own. The tour can be stopped at any time. Should you want to have a longer look, or if you choose, you can move in any direction. You can also click on request, which allows you to send a message to the artist directly. Those buttons can also be held down, which allows you to jump from one location to another. You have the ability to pause the tour and click on another button at the top that gives you the name and the works of art and other information for that piece. That's it in a nutshell. We hope that you all enjoy, and I'm so thrilled that all of you have joined us tonight. Thank you for joining us. And if you have a glass of something, I have water. Kudos to all of the artists, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to share my screen in just a second. So our first artist is Hresula Bentsen. Hresula, you are on. So as we said before, Hresula, whenever you want to go to the next one, just say next.
Okay. And let me know if you can hear me too. If my voice starts lapsing. My name is Hresula Bentsen.
and I'm originally from Oklahoma, but currently I landed in Baja California Sur on the Sea of Cortez. What led me to live in Baja California, I always loved the ocean. And I had this desire to live by the ocean at some point in my life. And this ocean seemed absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and a great place to live and do art. When I take on projects, there's kind of a sequence I've developed. My prior career to being an artist, I was an interior designer. I'm very comfortable talking to people, asking them questions to find out what they want in their homes. And now that's carried on to art. If I'm working on a commission, you need to look at the space and see what's involved. You need to talk to the people and ask them what they want to see. Colors, usually I'll ask them, what color do you hate? And you know what? The color is usually purple, which is astounding to me because purple and pink and orange are my thing. Of course, that's probably because I grew up in the 60s and I love the 60s. I usually don't go in a piece and just say, oh, I'm going to do a dog or I'm going to do a cat. It's a movement that just comes out of your body. I don't know how to explain it unless you're an artist and you can understand that. It just have to get it out of my body. Where I am now, I'm feeling pretty good. That's about it.
Hi there.
You're on.
Okay. Looking at that video, you'll notice that most of my pieces are custom 3D armatures, and also I have a lot of color. This first piece that you're looking at is called NOLA Remix, 34 by 18 by 3 inches, custom armature, smoke-fired ceramic, gold smalty, raku, smalty, copper smalty, travertine, obsidian, and mirror. This piece is really a coming of age piece. It represents a youthful adventure with a dear friend to New Orleans to the Mardi Gras when we were all of 18 years old, and we're still friends. But so if you look at this, I can see her blonde hair, flowing blonde hair, her hair, Mardi Gras beads, a lot of lightness that happened, some darkness that happened. Noah. Next. Oh, that's a detail of the lower part with the fired pottery. Next. Matrix, 17 by 13 by 2 inches. Custom armature, smalty, gold, copper smalty. Next. Ripple, 16 by 16 by 2 inches. So I'm talking about making these 3D armatures. Well, this is a piece that occasionally I will do a flat work piece, which is this start out flat, but then I built it up with texture. You look at that white ceramic pieces that I made, and also local shell on there. And if you notice in the center, there's blue glass. There's a glass factory here in Baja. You can think margarita glasses around the rim, with the blue and the red and the green. Well, they make them here, and you can go into the factory where they're blowing glass and you can get chunks of glass. I mean, they're like 3/4 inch thick. And so that's kind of exciting to use a local glass like that. Next, I think there'll be a detail here a little bit. Can look a little closer at the glass and the ceramic. Next. This is, 15 by 9 by 3 inches. Custom armature, Italian smalty, marble, travertine, Cabo glass. In this case, it's red Cabo glass and gold smalty. Next. Marrakesh, 29¼ by 32 by 4¼ custom armature, vitreous glass, and smalty tile. With this piece, this is in the beginning. This is one of the first pieces that I was able to actually buy nice tile to make this and planned color instead of just getting dumpster items from local tile distributors. So that was pretty exciting. But I made this armature and I asked my tile installer, well, how do you do this? He goes, well, you take chicken wire and then cheesecloth and thin set. Well, the chicken wire is pretty big holes and cheesecloth kept falling. So you can see that this has a little lip to it. It's fine, but now I've got a lot finer thickness per se. So this, I love this piece. It's color, it's colorful, contemporary, complicated movement. It got me kind of excited to do this. And I got to visit Marrakesh last September and the person that purchased this home. So that was kind of fun. Next, I think there's another piece here. This is the flat on look. Very new. I mean, there was early days. You can tell the difference. Next. This is branching onward. So as I'm talking about 3D armatures, usually I'll make about 3 to 5 at a time, different sizes, different shapes, and just kind of have everything pre-made because it's kind of messy to set up, etc. This piece, so then I just hung it on the wall for a while, and you do a piece and you see how it speaks to you. This one spoke to me and said it was a woman's body, and which tied in with all the local stone here. If you look at her head up there and her arms outreach, that's actually a natural color of a stone here in the Giganta Mountains. That's a flesh color. And then going down, it looks like the base of the tree kind of looks like a flared dress. Also, when I was on a hike, I found a petrified piece of bone, which if you chiseled it out, chipped it out, it gave a texture of bark. So this piece, the form spoke to me, pieces sitting around spoke to me, and the center is Roseville pottery from a broken piece from my grandmother. And she was very important to me and got a lot of empowerment from her. So this is branching onward. And I didn't tell you the size and what's in it. I'm sorry. The size is 23 by 11 by 2 inches. Custom armature, rosewood pottery, tourmaline, obsidian, quartz, petrified wood, l'Argenta Piedra, smalty, custom Italian pottery shards, vitreous glass, gold smalty, copper smalty, and tumbled marble. Next. A little bit of a detail of that Roseville pottery is really pretty. I guess it was okay, I broke it, huh? No. Next. Mantimonium, 22 by 29 by 2.5 inches. Custom armature, smalty, glass tile, vitreous tile, Baja beach shell, slate, obsidian, quartz crystal, silver smalty, mirror, ribbon, and braids. This piece is part of COVID. It was made during COVID, and it got accepted to a virtual juried exhibit by Mans in 2022. This piece, and that's good because there's no way the size and weight of this, I could have carried this to Australia. So I just went for the virtual exhibit. This piece lives in Colorado, in the mountains in Colorado. Next. There's a little bit closer. Next. This is Hresula 24 by 20 by 12. House bowl armature, vitreous glass, small tessera, raku pottery, Cinca tile, ammonite, slate, quartz, El Arco stone, pottery shards, tumbled marble, leather strips. Just a little bit, just brief about this. Hresula is a town in Crete. I went to Crete, and their pottery of the Ionian culture is exquisite. All the paintings are super contemporary looking, and they're 2,000 years old. So I took a lot of pictures of those. Some of the patterns in this skull are from the pottery that I saw there, and also natural elements like black, terracotta, and cream and white. I did 3 skulls in this series, and I pulled these contemporary lines from the Ionian culture. Next. Sunset on Royal Gorge, 13 by 20 by 3 inches. Custom armature, La Giganta Piedra Baja, sandstone, Baja glass, smalty, gold smalty, aged copper sheeting, wire, and rusted metal. This was made just this past July, based on a visit to Taos, New Mexico. And prior to the Taos, I stopped off in Santa Fe at the George O'Keeffe Museum, and I saw this gold pen that Calder, a contemporary of George O'Keeffe, and they were friends, had made for her. A piece that you've seen a lot of probably black and white photos in her dress or her hat. So with that, so there's the Baja water, the gorge coming through. Then the cliff on the left. In mid-America, all the small towns have their icon for their sports teams, like the Panthers on a water tower or the hillside. So this is like the George O'Keeffe stamp on the left side of the canyon. And then on the right side of the canyon is a little teeny thing of cliff dwellings. So there's a lot of, you can pull a lot of information from wherever you're at. Next. This is Mobius in motion, 18 by 9 by 8 inches. Custom armature, all smalty. That's where I learned to cut smalty. Next. The next 3 series are going to be Tortugas, and I found a perfect shape and size Tortuga, and I used that as a framework to make my forms. This one right here is called Los Lagos Tortuga Amores, and it's 21 by 18 by 5 inches. Custom armature, vitreous glass, smalty tile, raku pottery, beads, copper smalty, custom fused glass, and tiger's eye. Next.
Beautiful.
A different variation. Are you experienced? 20 by 18 by 5 inches. Custom armature, custom ceramic form, smalty tile, vitreous glass, gold smalty, bead, tumbled marble. Next. Serape wrap, 19 by 12.5 by 6 inches. Must have been that was a smaller form, huh? Custom armature, Cinca tile, smalty tile, vitreous glass, gold smalty, custom fused glass. Next. In the video, you noticed this more beautiful Moroccan home here in Boulder. Sorry, Baja. I'm from Boulder, Baja. And this is Bonaparte Afternoon, 42.5 by 48 inches, vitreous glass, smalty tile, raku tile, tumbled travertine, petrified local shell, gold smalty, and copper smalty. The client approached me and said, I'd like you to make me a custom mural for above my pool. And I was honored. And so when we first met, I said, well, what would you like to, what is your vision? What do you want to have in your home? And she surprised me, but she whipped out all these pictures of these frescoes from Bonaparte, which is in the heart of the Mayan country on mainland Mexico. And like all frescoes, next, let's go ahead and look at that a little closer. Like all frescoes, they depict everyday life and things that are going on in old world. Now, this isn't as old as Crete. This is probably just in the 1400s. It's actually a pretty contemporary culture as a way, that Mayans were, to tell you the truth. So this piece is obviously the higher level woman in a sheer gown getting ready to bathe, and someone is preparing her water for her. So what stands out, like when I was talking about these shells, Shell Canyon or Shell is height, Shell Canyon height, and the cliffs there are all just lined with these shells way the heck away from the ocean. And they're beautiful, very low on her dress. I made a band with those shells. And there's a few kind of scattered around there in the background. This piece lives there. We had it so it was going to be removed, but it's just too heavy. And in a couple months, I'm going to Bonaparte myself and see it in person. So I'm pretty excited about that. Next. This piece is relatively current as well. It's called Love Me Tender, 32 by 24 by 4 inches. Smalty, gold smalty, and Baja shell. This is another piece which I don't do very often, but I did on this one, a flat piece, and then built up the texture with the thin set and fiberglass mesh. And I added a lot of, you can see the natural shell and movement. Love Me Tender, you're probably wondering what that's about. Well, Elvis filmed the movie Blue Hawaii in this area. And it was, and my client had a oil painting that she had, which I'd kind of pulled from, and it was in the area that Elvis filmed Blue Hawaii. So, and that's all. Thank you for taking a look at my crazy world.
Thank you. That was great. Oh, here's just one more.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay. So look at these shells. They're just kind of wild down here. They're I think it's because of the mountains, and it's not like an ocean, it's a sea. So anyway, there's a lot to pull from down here. That's it.
Thank you, Hresula.
Uh-huh.
Monica, you are up.
Okay.
I'm Monica Currie-Johnston, a retired physician in Northern California in Vacaville. I originally practiced medicine and now I practice Mosaic arts. The evolution of my exploration and journey in mosaics, I really started from broken pieces, things given to me, trying to put them back together, make it functional in my garden. And then I just watched a lot of other people and hung out with people who did mosaics well. I learned how to form stained glass, not as a flat surface, but also to be able to melt it into whatever shape I wanted it to be and make it catch light to make the mosaic much more alive. I learned to use metallic structures, tile and slate and bricks and concrete, and put them together in a mixture that made it interesting, but also, I think, sometimes beautiful. I experimented a lot. And sometimes it worked and other times it didn't, but it was always interesting and fun. I met this amazing group of women and a couple of guys that are called the Mosaic Mafia. And we are not an organization or even a club, but they're extremely talented artists who do their own thing, but we come together to support each other. We work with charities to help promote the arts and those who are not as fortunate as we are to be able to been introduced to it. And so we will share that art and have people share their experience together. One thing about mosaics is so different than a painting per se. You get closer and closer and you're more in wonder when you discover the little odd things that made the whole. And then you back up, you realize that you can appreciate it even more. I never drew a picture in my life before this time. I never did anything really artistic. So I let people, first of all, know you don't have to be born with some gift that society recognizes. You can develop your art. My interest in mosaics had to do the most with putting small pieces together for a whole, which, like many humans, we're all a lot of small pieces and we make a whole. My art is from all different directions, but they come together to make beauty and make it whole. And that's kind of the way I look at art and in life. I'm Monica.
Nope, nope, don't need that again.
That's enough, Monica.
That's enough. Uh-oh. Is this gonna be in order? Uh-oh. I did this. Okay.
You have the order, no?
Huh?
You have the order.
I hope I do. Okay, so this first one is Crown of Joy. About half of these are gonna be portraits. So Crown of Joy, and it's just, you look at it and it makes you happy. It's made out of plates, jewelry, stained glass, ceramic towel. The size is 24 by 20. Next. Okay. Generations Waiting, which is a very large piece, 36 by 36. It's ceramic towel, multiple plates, towel, glass towel, and jewelry, lots of jewelry. Next. This is Elegance, and some of my portraits is just a pose, that is how it gets named. She is basically elegant, and she's made out of a glass platter, and a bicycle chain, ceramic towel, and some gold smalty. The background, by the way, is combed thin set. Next. Okay, this other word. Okay, this one is Quietly Waiting. It is mostly stained glass, but it also jewelry, wire, and fused glass. It is 30 by 36, and all these are in inches. Next. Okay, that is Dignity. Dignity is a mosaic, but also mixed media. The background is stained glass, which frit and fused pattern. The face is stained glass. The hair is actually jewelry and a leather belt that was hardened with fabric hardener. And the jacket is a platter. And then there's also a little bit of aluminum metal in there for lining. So that is Dignity. Next. This is Thelonious Monk. He was actually one of the first portraits I did, and he's all stained glass. Next. Here's Aretha, Aretha is made out of plates. Most of it ceramic towel. And her dress is made out of glass. And that's it. And oh, you want to know her size? Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, it's all right. She's like, her size is somewhere with me. Size. Oh, there she is. Okay, 36 by 28. Next. Okay. And this piece is also is basically, it's had multiple names, but her background is fused glass, and all that is frit that is melted onto black glass. Her hair is made from jewelry pieces and coated with some thin set and other material. Her face is from stained glass with the actual seams being filled with the frit from that glass. Her size is 28 by 28. Next. Okay, this is called, here's your easy, he's in here somewhere. Actually, I know it. The Shattering Effects of Prejudice. And this piece in particular I made when they were having quite a few attacks on Asian Americans in various cities. And I thought that it would be a way to just show, it has an effect on the individual, and also the mirror having that it reflects back on all of society when people do things like that. He is 24 by 16. Next. Oh, it's all stained glass and mirror. This one is actually 12 by 16. It's dreamy in color, and it is a China ceramic towel and a bit of jewelry metal. Next. This one is called Unity in the Storm for Pride Week. It is sliced slate, ceramic plates, and a bit of glass towel. It is 36 by 24. Next. I'm trying to remember what that one is. Okay. This one is spiral. And it is made out of ceramic towel that happens to be coated with a metal finish, copper, construction nails, glass, there's ceramics, everything but the kitchen sink is in that one. Next. This one also is spiral. It was actually I started because I like the platter. It's made from one platter. What you see is approximately 24 by 20. It is the small metal parts in it are actually the staples from construction guns, the staple guns. So those are all staples that are going outward. And then there's glass towel and ceramic towel as the gold. Next. All right, that's blue. This is blue algae. It is again a platter that I just said, well, break it and make something out of this. And so it has glass towel, most of the platter, and bits of perhaps some other stained glass. Okay, next. All right, this is another spiral piece. This is a large commission that was done in the past. This has aluminum. It is approximately, I would say it is 4 feet by 3 feet. So it's a very large piece. It has aluminum tubing, ceramic tile, and the color is fused glass that I fused, different shapes. And it has some stained glass in it and a bit of smalty somewhere just to fill in the holes. Next. This is a piece that's just inspired by Banksy. I just thought it was a fun little thing to do. It's 12 by 12, and it's just a peek behind the curtain. So I thought it was just kind of fun to do something with some fused glass pieces and some slate. Next. Again, another spiral piece. This one also has the aluminum tubing, bits of fused glass, mostly a bit of smalty, stained glass, and then the outer perimeter is combed thin set, combed and colored thin set. Next. And that is it.
Thank you. That was great. Okay, Valerie.
My name is Valerie McGarry, and I am a mosaic artist. I always loved art, and when I finished high school, I considered going to art school, but decided being a lab technologist was a much more secure career. My love of art never left me, and later I found mosaics, and I loved how open the medium was. It really allows the artist to use many different materials, many types of design to create anything they want to express, primarily with stone and smalty. I like to use traditional mosaic materials as a nod to the past and the traditions of this art form. I use these materials in abstract design to give a contemporary feel to the work. I really like that connection of old and new, representing the traditions of the past, but creating something that firmly sits in the present. For me, design is the most important part of creating. Usually the concept comes first. I start by writing down how I feel about a topic. What am I trying to say about this topic? And I think about how I want to express that in an abstract design. I think about the overall balance of the design, creating movement within the piece, so viewers' eyes will travel across the piece. I'll often use a diagonal line to do this. So I draw out my design in a sketchbook using pencil crayons. Next, I will block the design out on to my substrate, and I usually use 3/4 inch plywood or a handmade substrate. So after coming up with the design, I think about the materials and how I want them to relate to the topic. As an example is my zipper series. I had seen images of Japanese artist Hirotoshi Ito's rock sculptures. These were so interesting to me, and I loved how he changed the character of the stone by adding a zipper. I wanted to explore this idea of changing the feeling and hardness and permanence of the stone by adding a zipper. I like that idea that our logical brain knows that the stone is hard, but when our eyes see the movement created by using the zipper, we are intrigued. I also use zippers to express the idea of revealing what lies beneath. I strongly believe that we need to nurture our creativity by looking at new things and new ideas. Thank you for joining me today, and happy mosaicing.
Fantastic.
Okay, this first piece is called Great Lakes Ice Jam, and I made it with marble, smalty, and a little bit of Dal de Verre in there. And really what I was trying to show is the ice breakup that happens every year here in Canada. This piece is 25 by 13 by 5 inches. And I do like texture, so you'll see lots of texture in my pieces. Next. So this is called The Great Canadian Cover-Up. It's one of my favorite pieces. It has a lot of significance here in Canada. It's based on the discovery a few years ago of the unmarked grave of thousands of Indigenous children in that were in residential schools on the property of these graves are on the property of residential schools. And what this piece is about, well, the blanket or the cover is the Hudson Bay blanket, which has a huge significance here in Canada. It was a Hudson Bay company that colonized Canada by trading these blankets for animal pelts with the Indigenous people. And in this piece, what I've done is the blanket is made from travertine and smalty and shale, and the shale represents the truth that's poking through the blanket. Even though it's stitched up and they're trying to hide it, the truth always comes through. And this is shale on edge, so it's very sharp and pointy. And that's what this piece is about. And it is made with, as I said, marble, smalty, shale, and wire. And the size is 27 by 19 by 2 inches. Next, please. This is called Van Camp Farm. This was made for a Canadian exhibition where the theme was roots, and my roots are in my family's land. My ancestors were one of the first people in the area where we grew up to settle there as United Empire Loyalists. So my roots are firmly in the land. So and I come from farming family. So this represents the field. The edge is it's a 3D edge actually, although you can't see it from this, but it comes out a bit, and it's supposed to be the plowed earth. And underneath you will see the roots and the connection to the land. And this is made with marble, smalty, and shale, and a bit of slag glass in there. Next, please. This piece is called Over the Edge. I just wanted to experiment with going over the edge. And so I had a few pieces of fiberglass left over, and I set them into the piece. This is on a plywood base, and I kind of chiseled out the plywood so they sat firmly in the plywood, and then mosaicked over top. And this piece, I love gradation of tone and colors, and I love doing it. And it's my favorite thing in mosaics. And so that's what this piece was all about. It was just about playing around with gradation of tone. And so it's made with marble, smalty, and shale, as most of mine are. And it's 23 by 13 by 12, 23 by 2. Okay, next, please. Okay, this is Nevertheless, She Persisted. So this is all about the Me Too movement. And these are large pieces of smalty set on edge, and they are representing women's voices coming out of the status quo and rising up. And I did a slightly pink smalty and marble around the edge, and that's to represent these voices are changing the status quo, and things are changing because women were speaking out. And this piece was 24.5 by 8 by 2.5 inches. Next, please. This is called Study in Brown. I made this just a little piece I made for a friend. What I wanted to show in this piece was thinking about material and visual balance. So on the left, I have some shale and smalty pieces that add a lot of texture. And so if I had just used the rest of the piece with flat materials, it would be imbalanced. So to balance that out, I use the gold smalty on the right side, which has a lot of visual weight, and it helps to balance the visual weight of the texture with the visual weight of the reflectiveness. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do in this piece. So this is a fairly small one. It's just 12 inches by 5 inches by 2 inches. And next, please. This is called Remembering Australia. I went to Australia in 2019, just as the fires were beginning down there. And so after we got home, a lot of the places I had visited, there was a lot of fires in those areas. So it was quite devastating. And I really wanted to play with a lot of gradation of colors and tones with this piece. And I also, when I was down there, I was really intrigued by a mid-century female artist named Margot Lewers. And we got to see a mural that she had made in Canberra, and it really stuck with me. So I wanted to kind of play around with this idea of mid-century images, somewhat industrial. And so this is supposed to represent the eucalyptus tree in a kind of mid-century kind of design. And so this was made with marble, smalty, Australian sandstone, granite, mookaite, which is an Australian stone, beautiful shale, brick, and timberlite, which is it's like a man-made version of red dog. So red dog changes color naturally by being heated naturally, and the timberlite changes cut. It's like man-made heat added to change the color. And so this was made. This is 24.5 inches by 12 by 3 inches. Next, please. Fault lines. This is part of my zipper series where I was playing around with zippers. I put 2 in here. Again, a little bit of gradation around the edge. I like to do that to add interest when you have a simple design. I think it adds something when you can highlight the center of the piece by making it lighter. So this has marble, smalty zippers, and some copper wire. And it is 12 by 14.5, roughly, by 1 inch. Next, please. Apart Together. This is a little piece I made in COVID. The fellow that does photographs my artwork for me, we were talking, and he's originally from England and his mom lives in England, and he was saying that, you know, he missed visiting her. And so it got me thinking about being apart and together. So this kind of represented, the blue represented the ocean, the 2 tiny gold tessera, one on one side of the line, one on the other. That's him and his mom. And this is just a small one, 8 by 8 inches. And it's made with marble, smalty, gold smalty, and slate. Next, please. Trying to hold it together. This is a 10-inch in diameter piece made with smalty, marble, and wire. This was just that I made when I was going through my cancer treatments, and some days you're just trying to hold it together. And that's a 10-inch diameter. Next, please. Elemental connections. So this was made, I like to, as I said in my video, I like to kind of think about how I can express something I see in another art form in mosaics. So I had seen a contemporary dance by Native Canadian named Santi Smith, who's has an indigenous dance group, and she had done this dance about creation from the earth. And then I got thinking about that in my science way and started thinking about how all living things have basically 6 elements, you know, on the earth. And I kind of was thinking about the connection between these 2 ideas of creation. And so I came up with this this piece here, and it's quite textural. This is a straight on, so you can't see it, but it's quite textural. The inner dark circle is actually shale that's cross-hatched, and the center is the highest point. And I was trying to show a little bit of osmosis, just splitting of chromosomes in that center. And so it's made with marble, smalty, gold smalty, granite, and shale. And it is 24 inches in diameter. And next, please. And this is called A Well-Lived Life. I made this for a Canadian exhibition where the theme was transitions. And so I wanted to do 2 kinds of transitions with this piece. I wanted to go from light to dark. I also wanted to go from small to large pieces. And the idea of this piece was that we all start out in life shiny, perfect little pieces. And so the very center of this is actually blue gold smalty. And it's quite reflective. And I did that purposely because I wanted to draw the viewer's eyes to the center and then have them work their way out. And what the tessera represent are life experiences. So as we get older, as we have more and more experiences, they affect us more and more. And so they get bigger. And also I made this slightly concave, although it doesn't show it so well in this photograph. My intention was when it was lit, that there would be a shadow. And so I have the edges come away from the wall so that you can get a good shadow. And the shadow represents the effect that this life has had on its surroundings. And I'm kind of interested in doing more shadow work and making shadow part of the piece. And okay, so this was made with smalty, gold smalty, and shale. And it is 20.5 inches in diameter. Next, please. It is 2020 Opened Up is the title of this one. Another zipper piece, and the inside is shale on edge. And this is one of my COVID pieces. I wanted to have that feeling that, you know, if you stuck your hand in there, you would just be swallowed up by COVID. And So this was made with marble, marble, smalty, shale, and a zipper. And it is 9 inches by 13.5 inches by 3 inches in diameter. Next, please. This is called the Cancer Maelstrom. And this was about my feelings about having cancer and going through chemo, and the fact that it's swirling all around us. It's bigger than us. We feel so small. But I also, in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of it, that's the darkest time. But once you get to the edges, you know, the light comes back. So that is that one. And it's made with marble, smalty, mookaite, and granite. And it's 25 inches by 19 by 2 inches. And I made the little person in the middle slightly bending so that they're affected by the cancer, but not broken by it. So I didn't want it to be straight. I wanted it to be slightly bending, just to prove, you know, to show that, yeah, it's swirling around you, but you're still sort of standing up. And so next, please. This is called The Walk Across the World. I made this when there was the mass migration out of Syria, and they were traveling across the entire world, really. And so the colors, I kind of wanted to show the colors represented regions of the world. So on the far right side, it was the desert, and then it was beside that, the blue, the Mediterranean, and the green and the gray, Europe. And then the purpley blue, the Atlantic. And then on the far left, the multiple colors of leaves, that's Canada. And we had a lot of people migrate to Canada at that time. And so that is that one, made with marble and smalty, and it is 12.5 inches by 24.5 inches. And I should say I purposely had the colors go from white closest to the people, simply to help distinguish the silhouettes. I knew they get smaller and smaller as you went across the piece, and so I wanted to make sure that they could be seen and distinguished, because I think if you'd had color all the way, they would not stand out in the same way. So I made that choice to use the white behind the silhouettes. Okay, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of the artists for sharing their process, their inspiration, the materials, everything. I've seen these images many, many times in putting this exhibition together, but you never see it when you hear it from the artists themselves, because I got great insight into each of these artists' work, and I'm honored, actually. So I think there were quite a few comments or questions. Do these get saved when in the recording, Ilona?
I am not sure. I think Pam can answer that.
Pam?
I think we can save them.
Okay. I'll just read a couple of them if you would care to hear them. So there's Welcome from Chile. I think this is for Hresula. Your work is just amazing. Thank you for sharing. Yes, yes, yes. Stunning work, Hresula. My favorite, gorgeous, amazing. These are all very complimentary and beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I love the zipper series. I mean, they're just, all of them are complete complimentary, as they should be. Any questions?
I believe I saw a question. What adhesive did the artist use for the mixed media with the nails or metals?
Is that Monica?
I guess that's me. I usually use very thick, like glue, like something that's like E6000, but not really E6000. And also I cover it with thin set. I will put glue and thin set. So I glue it and I put thin set around it, and then I start mosaicing around the metal. It's like, kind of like Gorilla Glue 2 or something like that. It's like a silicone. Hopefully that answers the question.
Anyone else?
I had a question for Ursula. Ursula, is that how you pronounce it?
Hresula.
Ursula. Okay. Well,
Thank you. It's okay.
when you kept saying custom armatures, does that mean ones that you formed yourself? And when you say an armature, is it a combination of what?
Well, armature is something to accept the mosaics, which I do make myself. And I use fiberglass mesh and thin set and form it that way. It can also be called sculptural mosaics because it's three-dimensional and you're working around forms. But so an armature is a piece for the mosaics, and yes, I do form them myself.
Oh, they are just, your work is just beautiful. It is.
Anyone else have any questions, comments?
There's no more questions in the chat, so maybe people have questions now. We still have a few minutes.
Hresula, I just wonder what you use, how, if you could talk a little bit about the process for making the armature, that might be of interest to people.
Yeah, well, you know, like I said, I make 3 to 5 at a time, and it's usually about, you have to have at least 4 layers to make it solid. So you go 1 layer of thin set, and then when you start building the shape, you just use toilet paper rolls, plastic, you know, you just kind of start shaping it, and you have quite, you know, a few hours to mess with that, and then you cover it with plastic or plastic bags. You don't want it to dry too quickly, okay? So you cut tight and you let it dry really, really slow. And once the next day, that's going to be formed. And then you start adding the second, third, fourth layers. And after you do 2 layers, you put your mounting mechanism in there. And then 2 more layers will secure that. So when it's hung up, it's not going to come out of that piece. And then usually I finish off the back. I paint the back black. And then the front, I'll smooth it out with a smoothing stone a little bit. There's a lot of prep that goes on just to get the forms before you even do any mosaics. So that's why I make so many to begin with. But it's a slow process, just layer after layer after layer. But it's all fiberglass mesh and thin set.
And what's Tortuga?
Tortuga is a turtle
Okay.
in Spanish. Yeah, it's a turtle.
I looked it up and it was like a place, and I'm like, okay.
Well, there is a town, Tortuga, in the Caribbean, but
Right,
it's
turtle shape. Okay.
yeah, it's a turtle shape. So a lot of my, you know, like the manta ray, you know, I mean, a lot of the, I try not to do whale tails and stuff like that. I try to do, or fish. I try to do something that's a little bit different. But, you know, I think all of us as artists are are drawn by our environment, like Valerie, you know, the Pendleton blanket, and you know, it's just uh, ice breaking. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, I think all of us just keeping your eyes open as artists can pick up tons of a lifetime of inspiration to make art. Did I answer everything okay?
Thank you. Yeah. I had a question for Monica too about, do you still, I mean, are you still doing portraits or are you more doing abstract stuff? I didn't really get a sense over time of, you know, how you're, the mixture of types of things that you make.
Truthfully, I'm usually dabbling in 2 or 3 things at once. When I
That
get
sounds
fed,
typical.
when I get fed up with flat stained glass or fusing, and many times I got things cooking in the kiln while I'm doing a stone piece, or sometimes I'm just feel like cutting up a bunch of slate. So I bounce around. So
Mixing it up.
my portraits do have an evolution, but it's not in any type of real great order, because sometimes I learn more from a portrait and I go and put it into a slate piece. So, you know, it changes. And also Jacinta had asked me whether I draw the image first on my substrate. And for the portraits, I actually usually get a photograph and then I play with the colors on the computer. And then I will draw it either on the board or on the paper I'm going to put in the kiln. So if I'm going to bake the face and use frit as a filling, I put it on paper. And
Thank you.
And then if I'm going to do it on wood, I just draw it on the wood or on the Ouija board or whatever. Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question for Monica. Monica, some of your portraits, they have a background and it looks like patterns. Are those tiles or did you make them individual and they look like patterns?
I made them. They are stained glass. And then I grind up some of the glass and I put it through a stencil. So I do like a wallpaper sometime. And sometime on the clothing, I may do a wallpaper on the flat glass to give it a pattern different. I also use the frit to fill in the lines in the face sometime, or the same glass I use to make the face. So that's why you don't see a grout line, but you see lines. That's because I put frit in between and melted it a little bit just to fuse it, a tiny bit.
Very beautiful, very nice.
Thank you. It's a process.
They reminded me, and they reminded me of the artist who did the Obama portraits.
Yeah.
You know, with the floral backgrounds.
Yeah, his is actually from historical wallpapers that he's actually reproduced. And so he incorporates that as part of the message about a modern person with this very historical type of wallpaper. So it's kind of inspired by a number of artists like that too.
Yeah. But that's what I thought of when I saw your pieces. They kind of reminded me of that.
It reminded me also of what is that style that they used to have in the 20s with glass?
Art Deco?
Yeah, a little bit. It reminded me a little bit of Art Deco. It stood out.
I like Art Deco. I've done a lot of Art Deco pieces. Yeah.
Anyone else?
I do like how you made it your own, however.
Oh, well, I didn't see who said it, but thank you.
Jacinta.
Jacinta. Oh, hi, Jacinta. I just saw your box light up. Thank you very much. Yeah, each one is really, truly just see what happens. That's all we do. Get idea and go with it.
Well, I love that. Bravo to all the artists. It's really a way of discovering. Sometimes we forget to go on CMA2 and look at all the pictures, but here it comes together and it's like, okay, you have to look at it and we never regret it. For sure.
So, are there any other questions from anyone? Comments?
Well, I'd just like to say that Pam and you and whoever put this together just did a beautiful job. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
What a treat.
Thank you. Dawn, are you still with us?
Don't see her.
I see her name, but she said she was traveling. So anyway, so I just wanted to make some announcements for some upcoming events on October 4th.
Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button, of course. So sorry, I'm traveling. I can share the upcoming events.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, first I want to say how amazing this exhibit was. It's so great. Thank you so much for Fran and everyone putting it together, and the artists. That was just so amazing. And I'm looking forward to looking at it again so I can see the pictures bigger. So we do have some cool things coming up, and you can find most of them on the calendar. And let's see what we have. We have October 14th, Rachel Davies is coming for the Second Monday series. She's going to share her journey working with the materials she works with. On the 16th of October, we have talking about tesserae and substrates and how we find them. And that's with Monica and Madhuri. And then on the 23rd, Karen is going to give a tour of the website and show some of the new things that we've been doing, and where you can find stuff and volunteer and get involved. And then on November 1st, we have Feedback Friday. And all the way out to November 20th, right before Thanksgiving, we have art conversations. So, so lots of stuff going on, really fun. I hope that everybody has an opportunity to go. And I think that most always these are recorded, so you can always go back and watch, which I will be doing for this show as soon as I get to a place where I can sit down. So thank you again.
Thank you, Dawn. So a big thank you to everyone that attended. We had a great audience tonight, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules, and especially to the artists. Thank you, Hresula. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Valerie. You're fantastic. The videos worked. We had lots of issues with the videos, but the videos worked. It looks good. It looks great. And I'm thrilled and thankful to all of you. So you all have a pleasant evening. And thank you very much. I'll be